I'm Cadet Raza.
And I'm Cadet Oyerekwa, and we are at Day 42 at UTSA with our fellow NCOs and prior enlisted Mr. Gaines.
All right, we're going to start with a quick introduction for our NCOs here and Mr. Gaines. Mr. Gaines, if you want to go first.
I'm Mr. Gaines, or Greg, as my civilian name goes. Prior enlisted, did 6 years security forces, 6 years TAC P, and I'm currently a kinesiology intern here at UTSA.
I am Staff Sergeant Archer. I am the NCO administration here at the 842. I'm also a brand new cadre. I've been here for about 3 months. Prior to this, I worked at headquarters at AFOSI as their administrative CSS.
Staff Sergeant Taylor here. Been here for about 3 years now. NCOs of Cadet Actions. Before here, I was in Germany for 4 years, and then get ready to leave in a couple months to go to Korea. So. Fun times.
Awesome. So we're going to start with our first question, but first we have level 1 here, so if you all want to grab a fork.
This is going to be bad.
All right, so the first question. To kick things off, with a unique perspective as male and female leaders, could each of you share one formative experience from your enlisted years that you believe fundamentally shaped your approach to leadership?
I'll go first. When I was a baby airman, at one point in time, we were a group of friends and I. We were all at it was in Germany at the time. We were all out for drinks or whatever. In Germany, you can drink at 18, so it was pretty fun. But then we're all out at drinks, and out of nowhere, this one guy. He was a little higher in rank. He was like a senior airman or a staff or whatever. But because we're such a small unit, that it was more welcome for like NCOs to hang out with airmen. And he was getting like a little touchy with one of the other like female NCOs that was there, and I think everyone saw it, but it was pretty weird. And then at one point, I like just out of instinct, like just grabbed his hand. I was like, "Hey, like you're doing a lot right now. Like probably best you stop it." It's like I don't know if you guys have something going on, but she looks pretty uncomfortable, so just stop. And the whole table got pretty quiet, but then eventually like it went on, and the night went on just fine. Everyone got home safe. And honestly, at that moment, it was really small to me. It was all right, cool, like problem solved, it's all good to go. But the next morning, apparently, because it's such a small base, word had got around, and there was a tech sergeant that pulled me into his office one time. He was one of the chaplain assistants there. He was like, "Hey, how did your weekend go? Is everything all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, everything's fine. Pretty cool. We went out. It was pretty nice." And then he was like, "Well, I wanted to tell you thank you for your actions like that. It meant a lot." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, in my mind, I didn't even think about it. And he was like, "Well, I heard that you like stepped in whenever someone needed help." And I was like, "Oh, like honestly, I kind of forgot about it, but that's cool." And it was like, "Yeah, I probably shouldn't say it, but like she stopped by my office today and said like that she really appreciated it. So that's awesome." So no matter how small an action, how big an action, it doesn't hurt to step in and be a bigger person, or actually like put your foot down on something when you know something is wrong.
Moving into level 2 here.
This looks scary. Why does it look like that?
It looks like you got a disease.
Yeah.
Galapagos.
As NCOs, you both bring unique leadership styles. What would you say is the most important quality you would each bring to the table when leading your team?
I think for me, I think I'd say I'm really passionate about like what I work for, what I stand for, what I do. I'm very passionate about all the things I'm involved in, so that includes the debt and you guys. So I think as a leader, like I care a whole lot about what goes on here and how you guys are doing, or even how I'm doing. So I think being super passionate is probably one of my
That's a level 3. Level 3 is Funkies at 19,000 school meetings.
Cheers.
Oh, they got a little kick to it.
Oh wow. Yeah.
All right. Each of you has gone through different schoolhouses for your specific jobs. Could you share one key lesson or skill from your technical training that you have found invaluable in your career, and how you apply it to your leadership and daily responsibilities as NCOs?
Well, actually, so Sergeant Taylor and I went to the same schoolhouse. We were both at admins, right? We actually had the same instructor. We didn't go to school at the same time because he joined.
What, almost a year after?
Was it a year after? I joined in November of 2016,
and I was July of 2017, so like half.
Yeah, so we kind of follow each other, but we did have the same instructor, right? He's still out there. He's the best. He taught. I don't want to speak for your experience. Sergeant Bright in my tech school, he was a great instructor. He taught us a lot, and it's kind of crazy to think like I was just a little airman basic at the time, and he was a staff sergeant, which is what I am now. So it's kind of like I'm like, oh my god, I'm the adult that I used to like see every day in school. He taught us a lot, and I learned a lot of basic administrative skills, but it may sound funny, but I think one of the greatest things I was taught in tech school is like email etiquette, believe it or not.
It takes you a while.
It takes, when you work in a field like ours, I'm not sure for you, Mr. Gaines, but
I don't have spell.
Spell check is my bitch.
with admin or personnel, a lot of what we do is on the computer. We are talking to people via email all the time, so when I see a really crummy email, like it's kind of like you are judging a book by its cover already. You're like, if you can't write it, or if you can't get your point across, your question, or your information out there correctly, the communication is going to be a mess. On top of that, like having a good signature block goes a long way. Okay, so he taught me a lot, but it's one of those things that like he listens to me all the time. I gripe about people's email etiquette and signature blocks all the time. So
This is true.
showing yourself in a professional manner kind of goes back to that. It means a lot. It's kind of one of the first things people see. It's probably an email before they actually meet you.
I was just about to say that. So
like with me coming here with sponsorship, like you're emailing the person you're going to meet. So if your emails look, crummy, they're probably gonna think you're dirtbag. So.
I think I was asking you yesterday. I'm emailing like my sponsors for Korea. I was like, I don't know how much personality I want to put in this email just yet because it could be taken like a different way, especially for like a first time email.
Mm-hmm.
So
Like, do you use emojis or not?
yeah,
Do you use the exclamation point or not? So.
it's really the first impression. So that's a way to look at it.
Yeah, I would say, for me, mostly just attention to detail. Especially when you ask me the question, I always think of, especially whether security forces, whether TAC P, one of the biggest things is having extra batteries, right? And some of the last famous words are, oh, this battery has enough juice on it. Like, until you get out there and then you turn on the radio and like, oh, snap, this thing's dead. Well, you probably should have packed an extra battery, or you probably should have asked someone else, hey, do you have a full battery that I can use? Right, so just, if you feel like something needs to be done, then you probably should do it, right? So that's kind of how I look at things now. Like if I have a feeling like if I'm doing something, whether it's working with a personal training client and I feel like, oh, I should probably change out, exercise or something, it's like I probably should do it at that time, right? Because my mind is telling me like it's instinctually like this needs to be done. And so I kind of think about that when it comes to the military as well. Like if you're questioning it, then it probably should be done. We should probably ask somebody else, get their opinion on it too.
Every single time.
And bring extra.
And bring extra batteries and extra socks.
Oh yeah.
I agree to what you said about the email etiquette because when I first joined, when I was first trying to join, I had to send documents, my first email, to Captain Glover. And I literally just sent the pictures and dipped. And then she was like, whenever you email somebody, make sure to have like a greeting. Yeah, and then, respectfully or very respectfully, every time I email somebody, that's the first and second things that I put, always.
Yeah, I don't know if other AFSCs, I don't think tech school teaches security forces like the technical on how to, or like in Sergeant Bright's class, literally we were having a day of like, I'm going to help y'all create your signature block, and we're gonna go over email etiquette, like how to greet, how to give information, how to do like a bluff type email, bottom line up front, stuff like that. So. And I went into the military kind of naive thinking that everybody was taught that. So you get into other places where people send you emails where it's just half a subject line and just some documents and nothing else in it. And I'm like, what is this even for? Like, what's going on? So far since I've been here, like with our freshmen, we've started to try and like get them signature blocks and correct email etiquette early on. Because yeah, like we said, it's usually your first impression when you're going somewhere new. So always keep that in mind.
So the next one that we have is hot ones, but it's the Los Calientes one. I think that just means pretty hot.
The hot one?
Very hot.
Oh, that one look good.
It's a little
juicy.
It's a little wet.
Cheers.
Okay.
Tears.
All right.
So next question. Stress is a constant factor in the military. How do you personally manage stress, and what are the strategies you use to stay calm and focused in high-pressure situations?
So really good. I'm always big on like resiliency and the 5 pillars. I talk about it all the time. That, and I tell her all the time, like sometimes I think you know what's all moment. Just take the time, breathe. There's a lot of times where stuff happens and it's just like the most annoying thing on earth. But like at the end of the day, the mission still has to get accomplished, right? And commander's not going to be like, oh, it's okay for you not to do that because it's irritating. Just take time, like make sure you don't like react with your emotions. That is a big thing. So easy too, because you feel so strongly in the moment. But ask a friend, hey, how do you feel about if I respond this way or something like that? A lot of times they'll walk you off that edge. So yeah, take a loose moment.
All right, we'll move on to level 5 here. So level 5 is going to be Good Heat by Queso Sin Queso.
Ooh, it tastes hot. Okay.
Okay, it tastes plant-based.
Definitely not.
It's not bad.
It's not for me.
It's getting spicy.
I think I got that backwards. I think the other one was hotter than.
Yeah, I think so too. All right. So, physical fitness plays a major role in an officer's responsibilities. How do you incorporate fitness into your daily routine, and how do you encourage your team to prioritize it while balancing the demands of the job?
Yeah, I would definitely say find what works for you. So try out different times. You know, if you want to try in the morning, if that works, do it in the morning. If you want to, if you're able to, you can do it during lunchtime. I see a lot of people who work out during lunch or after work. Yeah, after work, or you know, if you work somewhere where you are given the opportunity to leave an hour early, like at 3, to take your PT time, don't be the person who's like, okay, it's 3 o'clock, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna go, you know, sit on the couch. Like, take that time that you're given or the opportunity to go work out. And yeah, it's really, I mean, yeah, try different things, try different times. If you want to do a class, do a class. If you rather go on your own, work out at the gym, go for a run. Find what works for you.
Exactly. Find a time that works for you and do what you enjoy doing, whether it's lifting, running, swimming, biking, yoga, Pilates. Yeah, if it works, it works, as long as you pass your PT test.
This next one's called Cantina Royale.
You're sick. Is this not flammable? Alright, here we go.
Way to go.
How do you balance the need for decisiveness with the importance of considering different perspectives when leading a team?
All depends on the task at hand. There are a lot of tasks that are more priority based or more, I would say more priority based. If there's a task where, say for instance, you're out on the field, like you need to make a quick decision, and sometimes you have to be like, hey, all right, like I'm just gonna make a decision and we'll figure it out from there. But if you have the time to make a decision, are you all right?
Yeah. Turn out to be here.
If you have the time to make the decision, it never hurts to take other people's viewpoints into it. But also knowing that as a leader, or if you're going to be a follower too, understand that your suggestion may not always be taken. That's okay. But as a leader, it's up to you to make the best decision for mission effectiveness and safety at those points. So, all depends on the task at hand.
So, depends on task at hand, like, especially if you're in a leadership position, just make the decision, be confident in it. The last thing you want to be is like that, especially for officers. And you have the final say, especially in the field, and you feel uncomfortable with your decision, then everyone else is going to feel uncomfortable. Right, so be confident in it, even if it's a stupid decision. Right, hopefully it's not nothing that's going to jeopardize the life of your team, but you can discuss it later. Right, and then also being that be able to listen to people with their decision-making process and see if it makes sense to them. So, give and take.
We'll move on to level 7 here. This one is called the Forbidden Fruit.
I actually thought this one was gonna be good.
This is 124,000 skull units. Cheers.
Sorry, excuse me.
Now we're talking.
That jumped up a lot. Right. You have all seen the evolution of leadership within the Air Force. What's one thing you think is missing or needs to change in how the Air Force prepares active duty personnel for leadership in today's environment?
Sorry.
I would say a more concerted effort on education. I think back in the military like 10, 20 years ago, there used to be like, hey, this is how we do it, don't ask questions. Whereas now people are evolving, like the world is evolving, where like people are a lot more smart nowadays, so they need to know why. A lot of times we're making decisions, and the first question that everyone asks whenever a change is made is like, why? This stuff was working just fine before, what's going on? And people are assuming that for the worst reasons that, yeah, I'm trying not to like choke myself out too right now. But yeah, just education, telling people why we're doing this. And I feel like we're doing that as well, but yeah, my thought process is on.
Yeah, okay, so I guess to kind of piggyback off of what Ssgt Taylor said, people want to know why, so once upon a time that was never really a thing. It was like shut up and color and do as I say, and you'll figure it out when it's over, and you never do. So I do think I wouldn't change the explaining why. I think now that we're moving on to the kind of explaining why we do what we do, or I don't really know anymore. But yeah, explaining the why is pretty important. It helps people understand, maybe take things more serious. So.
Yeah, because then if you know the why, then you're able to push back against bad ideas too, right? Because if you don't know the why and then you relay that order to somebody else and they don't know the why, then everyone just is just lost in the sauce. So yeah, just to kind of add on to what they just
The next one is the bomb.
This sucks.
It's a little bit spicier than last one.
Just a little bit.
A little bit? Don't lie to me.
After this one,
Don't lie to
it
them.
starts to like,
It's gonna jump up a lot.
it's gonna jump up like an illegal amount.
I'm pretty sure this could like clean off a car battery. Like it's kind of funky on there.
There we go.
This is easy.
Like that mindset.
So the next question is, what leadership strategies do you use when you encounter resistance from your team? How do you ensure that your decisions are accepted while maintaining respect?
Just tell them it is what it is. Ain't no going back. If they're questioning it, then they probably didn't have a full understanding of what was actually going on. So it may just be thinking about the way you said it and how you can maybe explain a little bit better. Is that it may not will grasp
so
of what you
cold
would
right now.
had explained. So there we go.
Boy.
Can I be painfully honest and say I don't really know yet?
That's
Really,
okay.
I have not really learned how to do that yet, and I'm sure I'll learn here. I've never had my own troops before. You guys, as cadets, technically are like my first round of, yeah, something like that. I haven't learned yet, so hopefully I will. And when I do, I'll come back to you.
Yeah, I think a lot of that can be taken care of before that problem even arises. Developing that trust with your team, letting them know that you know what you're talking about. And that can go from like talking about the job or like having them understand that you're there for them and you have the best interest of the mission and them at heart. So the more they go into a problem, like saying like, all right, cool. If you have a person that is just not the best leader or not on top of their stuff, you're gonna automatically question whatever they have going on whenever they say something weird. But if, say for instance, like you have one of your best supervisors ever and they say something that's like kind of taken aback, you're more inclined to like, I don't know what they're talking about right now, but I'm gonna do it anyways because like whatever. Prime example for that, and I'll say it all the time, is Commissar. Like he's hands down the best commander I've ever had. So whatever he wants to do, there's a phrase like I will follow that leader to hell and back, like hands down, because I know he has the best interest with that. Right? So just developing that trust with the team beforehand helps out a lot with that. But yeah, like you said before, a lot of times people don't know exactly what the problem is like going on beforehand. So
I don't know how you're dealing with this so well. You are unfazed.
Yeah.
Baby body to lead no.
oh yeah, for sure.
That's a strategy.
That's a trait.
His butt was bigger than mine, and I'm like, I feel like I'm breathing hot fire right now.
All right, this is level 9.
Run that right over here.
You just put your whole face in it.
Is there even enough?
For reference, the last one we just had 135,000.
That was it?
No.
hurts.
It doesn't even taste good.
But no, taste was not a factor.
I'm just going for pure spice.
Yeah, the one before it. All right. So, mental health is crucial in high-stress environments like the Air Force. How do you prioritize your own mental health, and what steps do you take to support the mental well-being of your team, especially during tough times?
I think that goes back to like checking in with yourself at the end of the day. And maybe having like those uncomfortable, honest conversations with yourself or someone you care about, being like, I'm struggling right now. It's okay to be honest, and like that's why it's important to have a wingman or someone that you can confide in and trust to be like, I'm struggling. How do you feel? Can you help me out? Do you have any tips or whatever? And I know people worry about the mental health stuff a lot because you hear a lot like, oh, what if I lose my security clearance? Or what if I'm looked at differently? Or what if I lose this job? None of that is as important as you are as a person. So if you need the help, get the help. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be scared. Have those honest conversations with people you can trust and with yourself. And you know, my stepdad is a retired major, and growing up, his biggest thing was like, drink enough water, get enough sunshine, go outside. Like those would be like your cure-alls for most things. And even though it sounds a little silly, it's kind of a good base to start off on. Like, make sure you drink enough water, make sure you're taking care of yourself. Go outside, go for a run, go work out. Because usually when you work out, it releases those endorphins. It makes you feel better, and it all goes back to checking in with yourself and taking care of yourself. And you want to make sure you're the kind of leader that doesn't judge when someone does come to you and say, hey, I need help, or hey, I'm concerned, or whatever the case may be. So, just let you know.
I think the big thing is understanding both as a person and as a leader that it's okay not to be okay, right? Everyone has those moments. The favorite song, everyone has those days, right? They do. It's for a reason. Life is not always going to be perfect. You're going to have to, not going to have to, but eventually you have to deal with it, right? You have to make your way through it. Rely on those people, rely on those resiliency pillars, all that. But first, understanding that it's okay not to have a good day. You don't have to give 100% every day, but give the best you can, and that's okay. That's a good quote that one of my senior NCOs told me one time. It's like, a lot of times I say I want the most from you. I don't want 100%. I want the most as you can like give me at that time. If it's 40%, all right, we'll work with it. Let's do it.
Yeah, this helps.
This helps a lot. Ice cream
Oh my
helps a
God.
lot.
Like every time I like swallow, like stings my
When I like breathe out, it makes it so much worse.
I'll say when it comes to mental health, it's just understanding that, because I guess it could be situation dependent too. I mean, whether deployment, whether stateside, everyone being able to understand everyone else's or someone else's perspective. Like what I may find stressful may be completely different than what someone else finds stressful, and being able to listen to them and listen to understand versus like judging. I would say just being able to see someone else's perspective. And be that ear for them to talk to them. I came in, obviously you guys came in a few years after me, but especially being security forces, it was like, you don't want to be going to mental health because, then you get your PRP taken away or you become non-deployable. And then I had an experience before I left the Guard. I did my VA rating. And then I, got my VA rating, and then the next day, actually that next drill, I had to go talk to a psychologist, right? And then it was like, dang, so it kind of hurt, it kind of messed me up because I'm like, I'm trying to be vulnerable, but now here I am getting punished, at least where I felt punished, because then I felt like I let my team down, but now I can't deploy, right? So, but at the end of the day, like, that's not important because it's more important that you get the help you need versus being able, if you don't want to go chill with the boys, doing hood rat stuff, so.
I always tell people whether you're doing one enlistment or you're a 4-star general doing 40 plus years, like there will be a day where this uniform comes off and you won't put it back on. So at the end of the day, you need to prioritize yourself. Like a lot of times it's so easy to get like so involved in it, and there's nothing wrong with that, but also understand that you have to take care of yourself. You have to. Because it's not always going to be you in this uniform.
And nothing's as important as you are.
Julio.
You done stalling?
I'm finished talking. I think I'm ready. Oh wait, no question yet. Dab.
Talk.
Have to, or is it just a suggestion?
Yes.
It's for the culture.
Cheers.
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 Before you're supposed to hit me, I'm going to read the question. Looking ahead, the Air Force is planning. Looking ahead, the Air Force is placing more emphasis on readiness and future conflicts and emerging technologies. What specific areas and skills do you believe will be crucial for the Air Force personnel over the next decade? And how are you each preparing your teams, yourselves, and to meet these demands? I can reread these questions again.
You're gonna have to.
I think learning Morse code.
Yeah.
Sign language. I'm not preparing myself for anyone, but I do think learning sign language universally would probably be really important. Or making it more of an effort to learn another language if you don't already. What is it called? You get extra pay for learning another language, but
The LEAD program?
Yeah.
Oh,
there's
yeah.
that. But I think it should be, you know, if you go to other countries, like most people speak both, you know, either like you go to Europe, they usually speak like French, and they're pretty fluent in English too. And they start really young. And I guess it's more for like America and general military, but I think that's kind of smart because we deploy all over the place, and it'd be well on us to know how to speak their language too, and not just expect everyone to speak really good English. Communication's pretty big, so.
I think it depends too on like the AFSC or the MASH con that you're in, because you're gonna have different threats and different, you know. If you were, you know, for example, for us, one big thing that we focused on was being able to learn how to infiltrate, you know, without being detected, right? So if you're looking at the next fight, whether it's with China, especially China, like you're not gonna be able to fly in and do airborne operations, right? Because there's surface area threats. So how do you infill without being caught? But then also how do you transmit targeting data without getting blown up, right? So that's, for example, for attack B and then special warfare, that's a challenge that we face too, right? So if you were, you know, if you work on an airborne platform, how do you operate in the contested airspace? Right, and then if you were, like you know, you can do for every AFS season come with different challenges, right? So I think it's very dependent on the next fight, which is probably going to be in the Pacific.
Funny enough, I think a week and a half ago, there was an all call for all of the 3F5s, the admin personnel, and how we are going to prepare ourselves for future deployments. And the gist of it is that it's not going to be just, all right, admin, we're only going to be working on CSS work, we're only going to be doing postal work, we're only going to be doing like our set, mission set, and what we've been training over the past 10 years or so. It's more like expectation management on like, you're going to be asked to go above and beyond. So there's all the different functions within the Air Force. The threes are the support functions. So like we're gonna have to be able to be moldable and learn like logistics or learn personnel or learn education, whatever that is gonna be called upon us, kind of like you said with the different AFSCs. But yeah, just understanding that change is gonna happen and be open to change, be open to that multi-capable airman. The Air Force as a whole, like legit hates that term because it's like, well, what's the whole point of me going through training if I'm not gonna do my specific job? But at the same time, like, that's what is asked of us because the next fight is going to be not what we have done before. It's not going to be the fight we fought last time. So we're going to be expected to do a lot more. So just being open to change and then also embracing it. You can be open to it, but you still don't want to embrace it. Like embrace it. All right, cool. This is what we're doing. This is how we're going to attack it. And that starts from the top down. It's easy for like if your commander is like, yeah, that change is stupid. I don't want to do that shit. And so the entire unit's like, oh, okay. I'm sorry for the language again. If your unit is like, all right, cool, my commander doesn't want to do it, so I'm not going to do it either. Whatever. Fire me. You can't because you're not my commander. But if your commander's like, all right, this is the change. I understand it's not what we've been training for. This is not what any of us prepared for beforehand, but we still need to get the job done. So how are we going to do that? And then it goes down from there, from the captains to the senior COs to the NCOs, all the way down to the command. And that makes that multi-capable unit at that point in time to be able to fight that nation's fight. So it's being able to embrace change. I literally feel nothing on that. I don't know.
I think something's burned off in your mouth.
Yeah, you might be. Yeah.
Honestly, the ninth
You guys are nuts.
The ninth one was old.
Thank you guys for being with us and trying out these wings with us for the first time. But yeah, that'll wrap it up for our first Hot Ones podcast. We thank you guys for coming in one final time. Remember, if you do have any additional questions you guys want to send to us, be sure to either drop it in the comments below or let the PA team know. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys.